part of the advice that you give people in life is pretty basic stuff, but if you follow it, it's really excellent advice. I think your first one is have low expectations. The second one is have a good sense of humor. And the third one is surround yourself with the love of friends and family, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
I have a hard time thinking of a time when you set your expectations low, though.
Yeah, well, I did.
How so?
Well, let me give you an example. Perfect. Here I am, little boy growing up in Omaha. One of my mother's best friends is living 2 blocks away, and he has 2 sons, and I'm right in the middle of the age of his 2 sons. And I'm a little older than one and a little younger than the other. And Eddie Jervis Jr. is sort of a mechanical genius. Mm-hmm. He can take anything apart quickly and put it right together and perfectly. And he also reads books all the time, and that's probably all he ever does is sit around reading books. He's a very bookish little genius with vast mechanical ability. And Eddie Davis Sr., his father, was the son of the leading mathematics professor at the University of Nebraska. Right. And he didn't have any money. In those days, he had a huge family, and they didn't die, and it was very difficult supporting them on a professor's income. And he went to all kinds of stratagems. He'd make his own raincoat out of a piece of oilcloth to save the money of buying a raincoat and so on. And nobody else did that, even by the standards of the 30s. But that's the way he did it. But he was a very talented man who wrote math textbooks and so on. And Dr. Davis had enormous mechanical ability, as well as an enormous mental ability, and being physically dexterous. He could do anything. He saw things in 3 dimensions, and and it was quite obvious that anything that required mechanical ability, I would not be as good as the 2 Davises. You know, I just, no amount of effort or work was ever going to do it, make me into a fly caster like Dr. Davis was or anything else. I just didn't have that kind of ability. And so I decided to stay the hell out of businesses where I would compete with people like Eddie Davis Jr. and Eddie Davis Sr. in their strong suit.
Knowing your competencies.
Knowing your circle of competency, right? Yeah. And that kept me away from those businesses, totally. And what was interesting about Berkshire's history is what turned the first $300 million of Berkshire net worth into the first $3 billion of Berkshire net worth. Now, some people have now gone back and checked all the figures, but some people figured it out. But the results we got in turning 300 million into 3 billion really quickly helped us a lot.
What was it?
Well, it was blue chip, stamps, and See's Candy, and the Buffalo News newspaper, and the early insurance operations under Ajit Jain when he came to us. And so it just, everything worked at once. And we made these unholy profits out of these fiddling businesses that weren't that good. And it was a very remarkable thing. And there was some luck involved.
Warren has said that his worst trade ever was buying Berkshire Hathaway itself, the mills.
Yeah, sure.
What was your worst trade?
Well, I think my worst trade was buying a block from the Munger family in Alibaba, which is a pretty good company, but I think it got overhyped. And Jack Ma made mistakes in dealing with the Chinese government. I had some everybody has some bad ones. Yeah. You have an off day. The greatest tennis player goes out there someday to the center court and has a bad day. It happens.
I think people learn more from their mistakes sometimes than
and their bad days even.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what really is knowing you can have a very bad day. Do not live your life in such a fashion that a bad day can kill you.
Mm-hmm. Which means what when it comes to investing? Making sure you don't use leverage?
Well, they aim for the fences. It's like a hitter at baseball who tries to hit a home run on every pitch. The great home hitters do not remotely swing at every pitch. That's halfway good. They wait for one that they can really handle. And that's what great stock.
But part of your advice in life, I think, is to understand that change comes with life and adapt to it. And it's something I think about a lot in my own
Not
struggles with
everybody
life.
knows that. I could have done a lot better if I'd been a little smarter, a little quicker.
What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
You've had success in everything you've done in life. What would you
Well,
like
I know,
to
but
do
I would
differently?
I might have had multiple trillions instead of multiple billions.
Do you sit around thinking about this? What would you have
Yes,
done
I do
differently?
think about it. I think about yes, I think a lot about what I nearly missed by being just not quite smart enough or hardworking enough.
What would you have changed if you could go back and
Well,
look
I'd
at the
go
last
back and
100
make
years?
Of course, it would be a cinch to go back and do it, knowing what was going to happen now.
Yeah.
I would be the richest man on earth.
Well, what did you miss? What was there something where you zigged
Well,
where
I
you
would
could
have
have
started
zagged?
earlier, for one thing, and I would have compounded longer, and I would have compounded better.
So saved
And
even
of course,
more.
I would have ended up richer. I was going to live to be 100 years old. And I constantly am aware of the facts that I basically screwed up. Given the hand I dealt, I could have done a lot better, quite easily done a lot better.
But you are not somebody who spends a lot of money on yourself. We are living, and we're sitting here in a beautiful house, but this is a house that you lived in for 70 years.
I know.
You
but
could have moved
Warren's
and spent
been in
more.
his house for about 60 years.
Yeah.
We're similar. But you see, we're both smart enough to have watched our friends who got rich build these really fancy houses. And I would say in practically every case, they make the person less happy, not happier.
How so?
In other words, having a basic house really helps you. Having a really fancy house that's good for entertaining 100 people at once is a very expensive thing to do. And it doesn't do you that much good.
I think one of the things you've said along the years, at least this is what I've been told, is that it's not staying rich that's difficult, it's staying sane.
Yeah, of course.
What happens?
Well, most people go a little crazy in some way or another.
I mean, that's a lot of your life. A lot of your
Yeah.
life and advice is
Avoiding traps.
invert, and try and figure out where you don't want to be.
Yes, and then avoid it. Yes, of course. That's what everybody's life is with any sense. All the people I know, and my intimate friends now, they never would have become alcoholics. It was too dangerous. They don't get near it if it takes that many fine people into deep trouble.
Yeah.
I knew quite a people, having lived so long and have scattered around through different activities. And I bumped into a lot of different people. And I noticed as I got older and older that all the people that had very early heart trouble, the males that had very early heart trouble, had one thing in common.
Right.
They all smoked a lot of cigarettes. So I could see that coming fairly early. And it's rather interesting. I tried to learn to smoke so I could be a cool kid like the other kids in high school. I tried to ruin my life, but it nauseated me. And so I said, the hell with this. People have lured me into a goddamn thing. You gotta get nauseated by learning to do it. And I said, I'm not interested enough in going through a lot of nausea that I want to smoke, so I just didn't smoke.
Now, you did drink from time to time, right?
Yeah, sure, but I didn't. Again, I was, and I even drank to excess a few times, but I was always, there were enough alcoholics and near alcoholics in my own family to make me worry about liquor.
Yeah.
And so I was always very cautious about drinking liquor. Now, I did occasionally get drunk and throw up. That gave me the nausea, which enabled me to give up liquor.